As you said, I certainly wish I wasn't sitting alongside you today and that Senator Nelson was here. So I know everyone here in this committee room wishes him a very speedy recovery, and I hope that he'll be back in this chair very, very shortly. The Commerce Committee has a long tradition of bipartisanship, and that bipartisanship has been the strongest and clearest for this committee in the area of surface transportation policy. In the past, surface transportation bills, Republicans and Democrats from the committee have worked together for weeks, if not months, to reach a bipartisan consensus on every part of the bill, and it involved a tremendous amount of work with stakeholders, committee members, and staff to have a balance on those provisions. Those bills also included strong advancements in safety proposed by both sides. For example, one of the reauthorizations, the last big authorization we had, then Ranking Member Hutchison's bill to improve safety of intercity buses became a dramatic improvement for safety. And when we did have disagreements over certain provisions, we almost certainly worked them out in a bipartisan fashion. Unfortunately, what we're voting on today, released by the majority last Thursday, I think represents a jarring departure from those bipartisan traditions. In some instances, it didn't represent a Democratic point of view at all. For example, last year the committee had several hearings on dangerous vehicle defects, including exploding airbags, defective ignition switches that have killed and injured numerous Americans. So from what we've heard during a number of hearings, we needed to add teeth to our laws to make sure that corporations that chose to ignore defects faced real fines, not just a shrug from Congress, and that executives who knew about these defects should face the possible penalties. Sadly, this bill doesn't do enough in this area. In fact, it walks back some existing consumer protections. Just last month, we learned that the 8th death related to the Takata airbags was in a rental car in California. And this bill, that as it was introduced before us, okays rental car companies to continue to rent out cars with serious defects. Now, I know there's been a lot of discussion today, and I know my colleague, Senator McCaskill, is quite passionate about this issue, so maybe that'll be one of the areas here that we will address this afternoon. But unfortunately, the problem doesn't stop there. This bill actually walks back safety provisions that could lower the age to drive big rigs on interstates from 21 to 18, and some of the rail provisions that have been added to the bill are no better. After the horrific Amtrak derailment in Philadelphia, a number of very serious oil train derailments, we should be doing more to make sure that technology like positive train control and braking technologies that could help us prevent accidents are being implemented. But this bill rolls back the existing positive train control deadline, and it flat out repeals the department's requirement for electronic controlled brakes system. So finally, as the chairman knows, I strongly support a multimodal freight program to improve the movement of goods in our country. This legislation has some good multimodal policy language in it, or did have, I should say, and my colleagues, Senator Booker and Markey and Senator Murray and I have worked on these issues. I appreciated that the freight mobility is a critical element to both our economies, but the manager amendment strikes the investment program that actually puts dollars into the freight program. So basically, only freight programs that are authorized through the Public Works Committee, which would be highways, would leave a lot of the rail issues, at-grade crossings, all the things that are so critical for multimodal infrastructure to move U.S. products effectively would not be authorized. So I'd like to also note that investing in freight shouldn't mean that we have to get rid of the Tiger program. Just today, we received a letter from 150 organizations about our nation's infrastructure and about a complementary freight program. So eliminating that program to replace it with one that doesn't fully address all of the rail issues of our country, I think is a mistake. So I believe that there is a better way, Mr. Chairman. I know we're going to hear from our colleagues for a lot of amendments. I would like to follow the lead of our Environment and Public Works Committee by getting a transportation bill that is truly bipartisan. So I know that my colleague, Senator Nelson, had been working on what would be a substitute amendment that would be something that my colleagues on this side of the aisle would sponsor, so we plan on offering that. And it includes strong funding to support the growth of our transportation system, and includes many of the provisions from MAP 21, bill that passed the Senate on bipartisan strong majority. So we will have that opportunity, and it also authorizes the Tiger program. So I'll stop there because when we get to that amendment, we'll have plenty of opportunity to talk about that.
Thank you